I, before you leave, I'd like you to talk about some of the things you've done that relate to this. And I'm thinking of your Dodging Horse ranch visit and that particular tool, which to me, until you do it, you may not appreciate it. I
Yeah,
know I
well,
going out there with you, I have always appreciated the importance of that on communication, Sean, because the art of communication with the equestrian world and coaching, it really is important. Jordan, go ahead.
well, thanks, Wally. Yes, I've been listening in and uh, just had my camera off so that you weren't interrupted by things that were going on behind me uh, as people are popping in and out. Yeah, the Dodging Horse Ranch one is one that I've used with staff and with my hockey teams. In that, obviously, it's really important that we support diversity in our sport, and knowing Brent Dodging Horse and Sonia, his wife, and Kata, his daughter, who played for me, it was really important that diversity piece in making sure that everyone valued that piece. And where it came back to is originally was trying to figure out how we can all be better allies. And Brent and Sonia were very gracious in having my entire teaching staff there to do some Indigenous 101 training. But another thing piece that went along with it was equine assisted learning, doing some team building with horses, and the communication piece with that, and how do you get a 1,200-pound animal to do something that you want it to do, but it doesn't necessarily know exactly what you want it to do, and you have to communicate with it in ways in which that are both verbal and nonverbal and all those pieces. So it really is a fun experience in being outside and doing that, as well as in a beautiful setting that where their place is just on the west side of Calgary on the Tsuut'ina Nation, and that piece. So the other piece with it was when we were doing it as a team with a team builder, I invited the parents to come along. They couldn't participate with the team doing their team building piece, but what it did was had them go and have opportunity to listen to Brent Dodging Horse and his message on diversity and the pathway that he had in the sport through minor hockey into playing minor pro hockey, and it was what he faced and some of the racism and discrimination and some of those pieces, and then again back to looping it back to what can we do and what the power of allyship is. And I think that's the other piece, is empowering people to be allies. And I think that Brent and Sonia do a great job with that. Another one that goes back to what you were mentioning earlier, Sean, to do with parents wanting to know that the coach actually knows their child. Being an educator in a school, that's one of the things that I say comes right back to things as simple as report card comments. That right now we have artificial intelligence that will language bots that'll write anything for us, from emails to novels to whatever. And some teachers are actually using them for report card comments. And my response to that is that absolutely, if you feel that a computer will help you in this task. But I said ultimately, when it comes down to it at the end, what does a parent want? They want to know that you know their child. So that comment has to be personal enough that when they read it, they know that that's their child that you're talking about, not some just so it could be anyone from that classroom or a random person walking down the street. So that connection piece is really important. And one of the things that I've done with staff in the past is a day in the life of with a student. So we have these things called professional learning days, where lots of times people just bring in someone to speak or that sort of thing, or provide teachers time to do things and be of their own devices. But I find that the most important or impactful ones are ones just like your good practice plans, that they're well thought out with a goal in mind. So a day in the life of a student, for knowing how busy students are in their daily lives, especially at the high school level, what I did was I break my staff into purposeful groups. And you know who you're putting together in those groups at MAPPIES, and then placing them in basically a vehicle that they would be traveling together. And then choosing a student, printing off their schedule and saying, these are the courses that they have right now in this semester. Well, here's their address. I want you to drive from the school now and drive to where their home is and figure out what that commute is daily from their home to the school. Okay, now once you're at their home, now let's think, well, it's not just from their home to the school for the entire school day. After that, this kid is involved in anything from hockey to Calgary Stampede show band or things like that, and that they spend this X number of hours at this facility for that event. So you say, now drive to this address and consider that the kid is doing this 3 to 5 times a week. And then, oh, wait, yeah, they also have a part-time job. So they work at this business. Now drive to that business and figure that out. And then circle back to the school and think about how they have to be able to manage their time to be able to do even as little as 1 hour of homework per subject per night. And you start going, this kid's life is so full, it's maybe a little hard for them to balance everything that they're doing, and it might actually stand to reason why they may be falling behind in my course, or they look like they're dragging their butt midweek after 3 hockey practices and a dry land session and a whatever. So it's that piece, that getting to know these students as individuals, and knowing that they're more than just the 88 minutes they spend in your classroom. And so I think that that's the same thing that we should be doing a lot of times with players is, no, you're not going to go home and understand everything that's going on in their home life, but get to understand other interests that they have and other activities. Like we had a benchmarking fitness testing session for some kids the other night, and several of the kids were coming for other activities. Some had been on the ice, some had been at dryland already. One had been at lacrosse, and another one was coming in. They texted, they're coming in hot because they're coming from track and field. Well, she's a distance runner, a provincially ranked distance runner at the 2,000 and 3,000, and then knocked off a level 12 on the beep test after being at the track practice. So it's understanding these kids and getting to know them that way. And when you can then refer back to some of those outside or other things to their parents, so that the parents understand that you know their kids. I think that is a very important aspect that we have to understand now, that these parents aren't just giving their kids to us for the time in which we have them during the school day or the time in which we have them at a hockey rink, and only relying on the what did you do at school today when they show up at home and go, nothing.
Yeah.
That sort of thing doesn't happen or isn't taken anymore. They want to, if they get nothing from their kid, they're reaching out to you to try and figure out, well, what did my kid do? So it's really that communication piece as well.
Yeah.
But I do like the idea of anything you can do to get to know your players better, whether it's a start of the season survey or those sorts of things. I think that it's something that will benefit you and your team in the long run. And it's kind of interesting. I was reading something the other day, and it was talking about soft skills versus hard skills and where that terminology actually came from. And it came from the U.S. military. And that hard skills had to do with everything hard, like tanks, guns, aircrafts, boats, and soft had to do with everything dealing with humans. And they said there's nothing soft about soft skills. It's that just had to do with labeling it that way, and that it's getting to use the appropriate skills in the appropriate place. And I think that coaching and teaching and being better humans just comes hand in hand with being able to communicate, being able to work with one another, and try and meet people where they are. And then I guess ultimately, if you want to get valuable work out of people, they have to know that they are valued and that work is valued.
And
I've used a thing I call teammate bingo, Wally.
yeah,
That I use it on the bus, and it forces me to get to know the kids over the first little bit before the first bus trip, because I put in little bits and pieces that would fit not any, but different kids, and so then they have to figure out who the player is that fits in what category, and to get a bingo. And so it's one of those pieces that I put on myself. I also do a early survey that's more on how players prefer feedback than anything else, how they feel they learn and how they like feedback. But yeah, I think that a survey of what your interests are and what you do away from the rink, those are great things. Anything like that, and I know that a lot of people get into the coaching side of things because they love hockey and the X's and O's. But again, going back to, we all know, those that are on this call know that these pieces will get you further than the X's and O's with the players.